job. And I kind of agree with this because I've held several jobs over my lifetime. I'm 45 now, and I have to say that the light worker job that I was doing was actually the job that most fitted to me. So as a tantra masseur, an energy healer, it fitted most to me. The other jobs just didn't fit at all. And the problem you have a lot of insensitive people around you, non-HSPs around you, and they don't understand you at all. Um, and also the motive is a totally different one. So the motive as a spiritual light worker is you are in the mode of healing basically all the time, whereas other people are just concerned, about normal operational functioning, you could almost say. So so I do think that it's true that light workers cannot hold and shouldn't hold actually a normal 9 to 5 job, but that means also for them to recognize their talent. And it also means to learn to market their talent, do marketing for their talent. Because I, for example, had a blog for my healing practices and for my tantra massages, and I received about 100 to 200 visitors on my blog every day, and if I remember correctly, and so I had at least one to four 1 to 4 client requests per day, and sometimes it would be more, sometimes less, but that's kind of the average. But if I hadn't marketed myself, I would have never been able to use my talent. So I guess the combination of marketing yourself and learning how to market yourself is for the light worker just as important as for any other business, basically. And if you ignore that, then you're gonna be an unhappy light worker because people are not gonna come to your sessions. Um, and it doesn't matter like what you do as a light worker, whether you do light language, body work, any other, you're an artist or whatever. Unless you learn to market yourself, you're not gonna have that full experience of being integrated in some way into the society unless you want to really live like a hermit. You can do that, of course, but a lot of people don't like that. I'm getting so many good suggestions here on my iPad that it's an endless idea of possible reactions and videos that I could do. For example, Ty Lopez. In the beginning, I didn't like Ty Lopez. Like many years ago, I didn't like Ty Lopez, and now I see his videos, and I think I actually very much appreciate what he's putting out. I think it's very good. He says, for example, he says, "No matter what is happening to you, stay social. Do not isolate." Completely agree with that. Unless you're spiritually very strong, then it doesn't matter. But or here, light workers cannot work a regular 9 to 5 job, like I'm saying right now. And the most light works, most of the light workers that I meet are really bad in marketing. They really don't have enough clients, and they seem to just barely get by. And so I think that that's that's a mistake from the light worker to not be able to market and promote themselves fully. And I have to say, I was deeply, deeply unhappy from my soul, from deep inside. I was deeply unhappy doing any other kind of work than light work. Um, it didn't nourish me really, and I think that's something that light workers need to understand. They have to also, just like anyone else, they have to pick a work that really nourishes them from the soul, that they really feel super happy about, that they feel accomplished and deeply connected with, and that nourishes them, that when they finish the day they feel not energy drained, but more like that they have more energy even. And this is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, and I recommend this a lot. Pay attention to what nourishes you on all levels, not just food or something. What nourishes me, what gives me energy, what takes energy. Like Sadhguru says, if you eat something and you feel tired afterwards, then maybe you're eating the wrong thing. The same goes with work, with people. If you feel very tired afterwards, maybe you're just dealing with the wrong work and the wrong people. And there's also many modalities of light work. So if you're highly sensitive, you might actually just want to do light language on YouTube, on TikTok. You don't need to necessarily do body work. Light work doesn't necessarily have to be body work. Could be doing spiritual videos, spiritual art, spiritual, sessions on the internet, whatever. Don't have to necessarily work with people. I, for example, although I'm very sensitive, I can heal people's bodies. I left it to the universe. I said, universe, if you want me to do body work, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to promote it in this way. And let's see what happens. And fact is that the universe showed me that I don't need to do body work in the sense like I don't feel an impulse to go out there and market myself intensely to do body work, basically. So I wanted to share that with you, because I agree with the idea that that you don't need to that you shouldn't, as a light worker, you shouldn't be doing. Hello there, Javier from New York City here. Came across your channel just now from stumbling across a recent Teal Swan vid. I've spent the last hour watching a bunch of your vids. Well, my older vids, I have to say something. You definitely unique among spiritual YouTubers. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I have to say something though. Uh, Let me see if I can put it into words. I mix a lot of content, and not everything. It's not like pure satsang. It's not like pure reaction videos. So I mix a lot of different things, but when you understand the underlying message of what I'm saying, which I sometimes, these gold pills, I call them like gold nuggets, gold pills, when they come out, you realize how profoundly improved your life will be. For example, toxic metaframing. Once you understand the term that I coined, toxic metaframing, it completely changes your viewpoint on relationships and conscious relationships and loving relationships, and at the same time understanding and avoiding toxic people and toxic relationships. And nobody ever mentioned toxic metaframing, and nobody ever mentioned, how you recognize really toxicity right from the start. And I lay it out like a blueprint. But there are some videos which are more like personal, where I say, okay, I wish I had a girlfriend, blah 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 blah. So it's kind of, for some people it's maybe is a bit strange because I'm switching up a lot, but I'm authentic to the moment that I'm in. So I'm not going to pretend to be something else that I'm not in that moment. And sometimes I feel like there is a high libido. I talk about libido empowerment, libido suppression. It's also related to toxic metaframing, because if you have libido empowerment, if you really enjoy your life, joy and sexuality, then you usually have no necessity to toxic metaframe anyone else. And so when you recognize toxic metaframing, it usually becomes somebody is unhappy. So I need to upload a couple new videos, and I have to say, there are some things that changed in me the last days, especially that I'm listening more to the subtle heart energy and letting things flow from the subtle heart energy rather than planning my actions. And I've always just lived in the moment, or especially after awakening, more and more living in the moment. But now it's like literally I just sit down, I just observe my heart space, and then the actions I don't plan, they come from on their own. So you're going to probably see more and more these type of videos that I'm doing right now, rather than speaking, about my own necessities in terms of like I wish I had a girlfriend, blah blah blah. Because I do have some of these videos, or I do speak about the tantra massages, which for a lot of people is like too much sometimes. Yeah, yes, your vids of toxic metaframes that I recently saw have definitely reminded me of so many experiences that I've had. So many. I'll definitely keep up with your stuff. Thank you very much. Yeah, for me, I tell you how these revelations came to be, these insights. They came in through extreme silence. So, not like a vipassana silence, but just like sitting like this, just being aware of the now. And then suddenly these things would pop up. I would just get them as downloads, and suddenly I was like, "Oh, toxic metaframing." And um and I know a lot of people for whom this changed a lot. What I do, I tell you a very practical thing, super practical. The moment somebody toxic metaframes me, especially right from the start, I assess whether they're conscious enough to discuss it. If I see they're not conscious enough to discuss it, I immediately cut them off. I don't spend any physical time with them at all. So when for example I meet someone, I give you an example. I was in the Czech post office. I wanted to mail something, I believe. I don't remember. And but there was it was during Corona time, and there was a big cola. Like people were standing in line, like to get inside, and there were my 10 people outside, even because inside it was so full. And there was a woman, older woman, maybe almost 70, and I asked her something like how long they're waiting here already when I came. And she goes like, she looks at me from the side and goes like, and turns around, which for Czech people is very unusual, but people are unhappy all over the world. And so that was a nonverbal indirect, actually a nonverbal direct toxic metaframe. That was a nonverbal direct toxic metaframe. And it's just like when people do like this, or and and that's the moment I decided I'm not going to wait there. See, the thing is, a lot of people tolerate or compromise with these things, but that's the opposite of self-love. And so they stand there and it's like, oh, I decided for myself to go to the post office, so I'm gonna stand next to a toxic person and wait it out. No, I decided I just leave, and I mail the letter sometimes else. And that's the good thing about spiritual awakening. You don't worry about consequences because there is no consequence to the beingness. So whether you mail it today or tomorrow or in 2 days or in 3 days, doesn't matter. Or you come back, you go to the bakery, you get some nice stuff, you eat well, and then you come back and then you mail your stuff. So it's there's subtle, very strong differences, and your day will go completely different because the woman that was in the line, waiting in line, she doesn't deserve your space. It sounds harsh when I say this, but she doesn't deserve your space just like you deserve self love. So you need to avoid toxic people because there's so many toxic people, and you want to self love. And self love is literally allowing and permitting yourself to be in the most harmonious situation that you can be in. But unconscious people, you're never gonna help them. You cannot help them. They're just gonna, do whatever they have to do, and that the toxicity will most likely in their lifetime not change, unless they have some strong situation in which they wake up to themselves. Yeah, and light workers, indeed, I realize it's important that even if you're given the attention and nothing else, you're probably giving them more than they deserve. Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. Just giving them. And by the way, this is something super interesting. Somebody who constantly toxic metaframes is a narcissist. That's literally what a narcissist is, a constant toxic metaframer. if you give them any kind of attention, even no, it's good, it's fantastic. I'm not interrupted. Even if you are in the same space as them, you're acknowledging their existence in a way, or their no, not you're acknowledging their behavior. That's what I mean. Their toxic behavior. And the thing is, what a narcissist or a toxic metaframer really needs, they need to be alone. And that's the only way they will realize they did something wrong. I had, for example, a friend, female friend. We were 9 years friends, and then I became a tantra master, right? And I would sometimes tell her about my sessions, that I had this woman, la la la, and we would sit on a park park bench somewhere, in like a rose garden or something, and we would just relax, nice, sunny, and everything. And then when I explained these things, we would have a great afternoon. And when I explained, these things, she would like go like this, like nonverbal direct, was almost like non on indirect, toxic metaframe. She wasn't really accepting my my sessions, and I realized she's raised Christian, not really Orthodox, but also she's raised Christian, and she didn't understand and she didn't accept it. And so I decided to end the relationship, and I felt much, 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 much better, because tantra massages for me were an integral part of my existence, of who I am, or what I love to do, or whatever you want to say. And I didn't need anyone around me to criticize that, because I was really blossoming in those sessions. And yeah, so I let go of a lot of these people because they're not really friends. Or I had one guy who was always calling me. I only realized this after awakening and after understanding toxic metaframing. He would only call me, and it would be very subtle. He would only call me because he felt that his life is better than mine, and he would kind of like use it as a comparison to improve his emotional, kind of like a little bit like jerking himself off, kind of like, uh my life is better than yours kind of thing. He wouldn't say it directly, but he would say, why don't you come to the Philippines, and it makes much more sense than where you're now, and which logically a lot of the things that he was saying made sense, but there was a very subtle undertone that he wanted to improve his own standing in comparison to my life at that time. And when I spiritually awakened, and I confronted him a little bit with spiritual awakening, in the sense, like I said, no, everything is fine. I'm happy where I am. And all of these things. And doing the tantra massage, he stopped calling me. He stopped completely getting in touch with me. And the reason is because suddenly I was the reflection of his kind of like unresolved side. For example, he had the problem also that he's very greedy. He had at the time uh was making enough money. He was making good money, and I was not making anything, and I was working doing some stuff for him also, and he never really invited me much, or for food or anything. It was weird. He's definitely a kind of like a stingy. That's the right word. And so I let go of these people, and I met new friends, and they're much better. And so yeah, and that's the thing also with here when it says light workers cannot work a regular 9 to 5 job, is because you're letting go of all these kind of conditionings, and the way normal people behave and all of this stuff, and you're kind of exiting that. So, for example, my heart is pushing me more and more into nature, into off grid. I love now here where I am, there are a lot of mountain bikers on the weekend, and it's sunny, so the parking space is completely full. But I love it just when nobody is around and it's just me with nature. Oh my God, I love that. And absolutely. love it. So I'm gonna leave it at there, and then I'm gonna keep researching what other video I can react on. So thank you very much for following. And unless someone has a question, but I think I must be a little bit careful with my voice, because if I talk so much, then my voice will get attacked a little bit. And yeah, so see you very soon.